Thank you all for joining us, whether live, and we will air this again on Fox 8, WGHP. We're there for every single week as far as new episodes on Wednesday. We have a phenomenal event coming up on Saturday for Kaitlyn's Carnival, and I am very honored to have Caroline Drake here from the Guilford County Solution to the opioid problem. I told you I was going to mess it up.
Yeah.
Opioid problem. GC on Facebook as well as I believe on Instagram, correct?
Yes.
Perfect, perfect. So, Caroline, thank you so much for joining us. And, just getting into it, tell us a little bit about what Kaitlyn's Carnival is about, and we'll just kind of start the episode off and go from there.
I will be happy to. So Caitlin's Carnival was and is continued to be a celebration of life for my daughter Kaitlyn, that we unfortunately lost to an opioid overdose in July of 2020. The first year it was kind of a combination of me and an intern coupled together, and they decided to do this to honor her and also include it as a fundraiser for GCSTOP. I have taken that over in the years beyond that first, and it is just a labor of love each year. We put it together. It has grown. We've had different locations, but this year we're trying a new one. So we're very excited. But all the funds raised obviously go back into our program, where we continue to just save as many lives as we can.
I love it. I love it. And it's at the Arboretum. So right there, right
Yes.
off of Walker, right off
Yes.
of, is it
Market Street.
Market Street? Market
Yep.
Street.
Yes.
And what are the times again? And what is the fee to get in?
So there's no fee to get in.
Okay.
Everything is completely free. Things are for sale when you get there,
Mhm.
where you have raffle tickets, all that good stuff, lots of raffle prizes. But the time is from 12 to 4.
Okay.
And like I said, we're just looking like the weather's going to hold out, but we've got a lot of tree coverage and we'll all have tents, and we'll be glad to let people gather under them if we do have a little downpour or something.
I love it. So pulling for great weather here
Yes,
on Saturday. And again,
absolutely.
thank you so much for joining us. Now, being that you're the community engagement manager for GC Stop,
Hmm.
tell us a little bit about that journey. I know we talked about it off camera a little bit
Yes.
last week, but
Yes.
how has that been for you? And most importantly, what can people do to help?
Okay. So my transition into this role has happened very organically. I will go back. I worked at my first part-time job for 39 years. Obviously, when we lost Caitlin, life changed. Things, in bad ways and good. You have to find, the things that you can take from it, and move forward with. Very early on, I connected with GC Stop, just because she talked about these three guys in particular that were kind of the heart of the organization at the
Sure.
time. Like, they were all one word. And they were just so implemental in her life and just loved her both when she was struggling and in recovery. And I was just so drawn to these people who were so there for her in her times of need. And so I started connecting with them. Every week we'd sit down and talk, and then we started dreaming up ways to really keep her memory alive. And for about a year and a half, we had a house in High Point actually called Caitlin's House.
Okay.
And that was kind of the start of what we continue to do. We were there for about a year and a half, moved into an office space, where we just help folks with their needs at the house. We had a shower, we had a clothing room, we had food going all the time. They could get Narcan, anything they needed. We just try to keep people. It's we practice harm reduction essentially, which just means that, in layman's terms, wearing a seatbelt is harm reduction, or
Sure.
just anything you do to keep yourself safe. So we just like to keep people safe. We all, you can't recover if you're not around to do it. So we're just trying to develop those relationships, and really get people to know who they can trust when they're willing to take that next step. But at the office, we have grown into, we've got a substance, if people want to pursue recovery through like medication assisted treatment, we have a clinic now where we do that.
Hmm.
We go out into the community several times a week. We have little pop-up spots where we literally meet people where they're at.
Sure.
Um, and I just kind of organically fell into the community engagement role because I love to to connect with people. I like to find opportunities to, just get us out in the community even more, get more people to know, get more Narcan in people's possession. Because that's the only way to save a life when somebody's overdosing. So that's very important to us.
Well, thank you again for sharing your story.
Of
Now,
course.
for people that may not be able to make it Saturday, or people that may be watching this and it's after Saturday,
Mhm.
what can they do to help get involved, whether if it's upcoming events or being a part of the program itself?
Sure. So we do try to hold community events. And so we do Narcan packing parties, which is very critical to our mission and what we do. There are two different forms, but the ones we pack are the ones that have the little vials and syringes.
Okay.
And we do always invite community in to help us out with that. I do organize quarterly community cleanup days, which means we go to areas, especially that are kind enough to let us kind of set up camp at times to kind of keep their areas clean.
Yeah.
And, we're always accepting donations of any kind, clothing, blankets, food. I mean, we try to do wraparound care there. We've got a clothing room, we've got a pantry. We, just try to cover every base that we can. And it's very implemental to get the support of our community to continue to be able to do that.
I love that. I love that because I'm always thinking about ways to, especially when it comes to donations. Like, I don't just want
Mhm.
to drop stuff off at Goodwill. Like, I
Sure.
want to
Yeah.
be a part of the community to where there's not going to be a fee attached to it.
Right.
I really want to
Right.
drop it off for people in needs. Now, where can they drop off in terms of clothes and then food? Is there any specific food items in terms of like canned foods or things like that
Sure.
that y'all have
Sure.
a preference for?
Well, honestly, our biggest need is probably just really easy things that people can, snack things, granola bars, fruit snacks, crackers, just things that people can easily, not have to have any source to cook or anything.
Hmm.
Canned goods are great. Pop tops are great because a lot of people don't have can openers necessarily. Um, and as far as, drinks, Gatorades, especially during the summertime, we like to make sure our folks are staying hydrated. We hand out a lot of the liquid IV packs. They love those.
Yeah.
Um, and as far as where, our fixed location is at 1814 East Chester.
Okay.
We're in High Point. It's not far off the Wendover when you come off of Wendover, and it's 68 this way and East Chester this way. We're only a couple of miles up, and there's a big Dudley sign right at the street that we're in the old Dudley's headquarters. We rent that building from them. So, but yeah, we're welcome to, and we will absolutely pick up as well. So if it's not a convenient location for people to come, just reach out to us and one of our staff will be glad to come pick up any donations.
Awesome. Awesome. And by the way, if you are watching the live stream, if you have any questions, feel free to drop them in. I will try to get to them. I'll be honest, sometimes there's a little bit of a lag when it comes to
Mhm.
live streams and things like that.
Mhm.
And I know, Caroline, you're checking out your phone as well. Now,
Yes.
let me ask, if people are going to be able to make it this Saturday, are you going to have a spot to where donations would be acceptable?
Oh, of course. We'll have our bus that
Okay.
we take on outreach a lot. We that so that will be there, and we will definitely have. I don't know where my phone. I'm so sorry,
It's
my
okay.
phone.
It's okay.
I was trying to do something and something went off. Okay. But yes, we will have our it's like a mini school bus almost, but it used to be a transportation
Okay.
um, that we purchased and outfitted to fit our needs. But yes, if anybody would like to bring anything on Saturday, we absolutely can take it.
Love it. Love it. So, in terms of other events that you may have going on after this one, let me turn the volume down. I just pulled it up on the phone here, so just to make sure I'm not trying to lose any chats or any questions coming in.
I got you.
Again, a big shout out to my friend Kate Thompson. Her and Zach are phenomenal. They come to trivia's,
We
and
love Kate.
that's how I found out about this. And I was like, once she told me, I was like, we got to make this happen. And I know it took a while, and that's my fault. It's just I'm
It's
too
okay.
busy.
Life
I
is busy.
just put out a post today. Like, I need some help. So,
Yeah.
so with that being said, in terms of like other events that you may have planned in the spring, or not, I mean, I know that we're halfway through spring, but summer and fall, also
Mhm.
too, any when it comes to like local businesses that would
Mhm.
maybe want to have you guys there for a night,
Yeah,
whether sponsored or unsponsored, how would
right.
they go about doing that? Who would be the right person to reach out? I take it it's you, but I never want to
Yes.
assume, so I just want to make sure.
Absolutely, yes. No, I would be the one to reach out to, and I'll be happy. Really simple, Caroline at gcstop.org. And I check my emails very, very methodically. And we love to do that. We recently did one at Barnes and Noble. They were very welcoming to us, and it was very a lot of people buy books, and we were able to just kind of hand people vouchers and ask them to turn them in at checkout. That was a very easy one, but it was a great way to just spend some time talking to folks. They're very curious about what we did, so we always
Sure,
love talking about that.
sure,
And but yeah, we love like any chance to fundraise and to just mingle with people and get our mission out there. And it's you're hard pressed to find somebody who's not directly affected somehow
sure,
you know
sure.
so it's nice. I think I've experienced a lot of people that like it just seems almost like a relief to have somebody to talk to about it, because I
Right.
think that, you know, I don't know, in some people's circles, it's just not. And I felt that myself, when I found out my daughter was having issues, I was like, oh no, we have to keep this hidden sweep
Right.
it under the rug. This does not happen to my child, and we're going to fix this, and we're going to,
Right.
nobody even has to know about it. And I think a lot of people feel that way. And one thing that that I have come to learn over time with addiction is that, there is so much shame attached already.
Yeah.
Adding any to that is not helpful. And,
Yeah.
we decided very early on in this journey, and especially when things went really, really badly, we just said we've got to turn something positive,
Yeah.
out of this, because we can't just, I could have laid in bed for months and
Sure.
not gotten up, but I thought I can't do that, and I just GC stopped the first time I was volunteering with them. It was just the first time I felt that kind of, oh, wait a minute. Life isn't over, I don't think. Let me just keep going with this. And, little did I know that 5 years later, here I am full time and quit my job of 39 years to do it. And, you know, and I've never doubted it for a second that it was the right move.
I love that. The passion, everything,
Yeah.
everything around it speaks volumes. And at the end of the day, I totally believe you're right. Like, even though we are a majority more pop culture and this, that, and the other, we're also a very big mental health podcast. And there's always
Mhm.
been a stigma behind that to where it's like, oh, I
Yeah.
got to keep it to myself. I got to keep it
Yes.
in. And it doesn't matter what it is. And
Right.
I've seen more and more on social media now, more people coming out, whether if it's they need to stop drinking or lose weight, whatever it is, there is now more of even though social media can be very negative, there's
Yeah.
a lot more positive than there really is. Even
Right.
though some of our streams may be negative, 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 I do feel that when it is an issue, it shouldn't just be bottled in or just kind of kept in the family, because
Right.
there are support groups out there just like yours
Right.
that are making a difference, and that small difference can make a hell of a lot of difference to people out there that feel like they're all alone.
Right. Right.
And
Absolutely.
and
Absolutely.
I'm sure you get that.
Oh,
Since
absolutely.
you started the role, I would love to know just kind of like, I wouldn't say like success stories, but what have been, just some of your highlights since taking over this role, and if there are any success stories, like obviously feel free to share them.
I think for me, honestly, is just getting to do what I absolutely love every single day.
Yeah.
I have never once woken up and feel like I'm going to work. I
Okay.
mean, and to be able to do that at the stage of my life, I'll be honest, I'm getting ready to turn 55 years old. And to just think that I just feel like if I can do this for the rest of my working years, I mean, I would just feel incredibly privileged to be able to do it. Um, but in general, I mean, it honestly is just making these connections with people that we just don't just know, but they tell us all the time. Like, everybody in my life has given up on me,
Yeah.
but y'all have not. And we have so many people who have gotten through our program, who have come out the other side, and they will sing the praises. In fact, we've got a girl who is going to speak at the carnival this year who
Uh-huh.
just we can't take the credit for it. They're,
Sure.
you saved our lives. No, you saved your life.
Yeah.
We just did. tried to not let you, give up on yourself.
Exactly.
And that is so important to people because I get it. I mean, it is a hard thing when it's in your family and you just don't understand.
Right.
You're seeing, like for me, I can remember I just kept seeing this little rule following girl that, like, we talked about this. We had the
Yeah.
conversations and peer pressure and what you say when you're offered it. And, we were not, stupid enough to think that it couldn't happen or that, she wouldn't be approached with it. But,
Sure.
it can happen to anyone.
Yep.
And I think it's very important for people to know. And I just try everyone I come in contact with, I know that is somebody's Kaitlyn, or that is somebody's, I have a son named Noah.
Right.
And, it could happen to anybody's brother, mother, son, uncle, grandma, grandpa, it's not selective.
Yeah. Yeah. Thank you. Thank you again for
Of
sharing that.
course.
And could not agree more. It's about just getting out there. For people that are taking the initiative, that's the hardest step. Nine times out of
Yes.
10 is just being like, I need help. It's not an
Yes.
easy thing to do. It's not an
No.
easy thing to say.
No.
And
No.
that's the thing. It's just having, for lack of a better term, cheerleaders around you that are pulling for
Yes.
you to
Right.
help break
Right.
this
Right.
means
And
the world.
somebody who is not like, because the approach we take is not like, you need to stop. This is, and that's what people that you need to get them here, you need to get them
Right.
to rehab.
Right.
And it's true until someone is ready,
Yeah.
it's just not going to be successful. And so we just try to fill that gap until they are. And when they're ready, we're who they come to, and we can refer them to treatment, get them a ride there. And that's, the other thing about our clinic. We thankfully have a grant right now where, we've taken the barrier of transportation out. We can Uber somebody
Yeah.
to our clinic and Uber them back home or wherever they are. So, I mean, I just think it's so important. And I hear people all the time, new patients at our clinic that will just, I might be sitting on the bench out front taking a little breather, and they'll come out and be like, this place is amazing. I didn't know anything like this existed, because
Yeah.
they're just so used to the judgment, and they're so used to there being
Sure.
conditions, and they're so used to, we just try to remove as many barriers as we can, because, and when you talk about mental health, that's really the base of a lot of it. I mean,
Yeah.
it's like people are just trying to, I always talk about that opioids don't just kill physical pain, they kill emotional pain,
Gosh. Yeah.
and that was out of the mouth of my daughter. She said, Mom, the first time I took a pain pill, I felt like I'd always wanted to feel. I mean, we'd taken her to counseling for so many years. She was on
Sure.
antidepressants. We did all the things we knew to do. She said nothing ever made me feel instantly better like that did.
Right.
And it's just, I hate that it has that effect, but that's, how a lot of people, they're just trying to escape this brain that won't quit,
Yeah.
telling them things that they don't want it to. So
And that's a big thing. I mean, it does go hand in hand with opioid. Oh, I told you I was going to mess it up. Opioids
yeah.
and
Yeah.
and mental health. It's
Well,
there to relieve pain, but at the same time, unless you're doing something about it,
right.
then and you're right, because I think a lot of the stigma is people get so worried about saying that they have a problem that the first answer is going to be, you need to go to rehab, you need to do
Right.
this, it's you
Right.
need to need.
Yes. Right.
Whereas really you need to just understand where they're coming from,
Right.
be able to figure out what's going to be hopefully the best option, and
Right.
then go from there, not just straight, all right, well, you need
Yes.
help, you need rehab, you need to go to
Right.
this right now.
Exactly. Exactly. Because at the end of the day, we don't know what they need. I
Right.
mean, only they're going to know what they need. And all we can do is just be there to support and let them know they're cared about and they are valued. I see way too many people who just, I heard recently of somebody who overdosed on purpose just because he just felt like nobody in the world cared about him. Why am I still here? And I don't want anybody to feel like that. Everybody deserves to be here. Nobody deserves to think that or feel that.
1,000%. I mean, at the end of the day, like I said, we do pop culture, but we do a lot of mental health, and I preach that all the time. I'm like, if you're struggling, whether if I know you or not,
Yeah.
send us a message, give us a call. I am not
Right.
by any means a licensed therapist or anything
Right.
like that, but everyone deserves to be here,
Right.
1,000%. And I know that you mentioned a couple of the services that you provided. what
Mhm.
are kind of like the full list of services that you provide? Just, of course, for people out there, because I feel like whether if it's the live stream now or when we air this, a lot of people are going to have questions, and that's great. That's
Right.
why we do this,
Sure.
to spread the
Absolutely.
knowledge, spread the wealth out there,
Yeah.
and whether if they want to do it low key and maybe they don't want to post
Mhm.
right now.
Sure.
And I mean, I'm sure that's probably the case, or they may just send an email to you directly,
Sure.
whatever it is. Like, what are the list of services that um, uh, GC,
GC
oh,
Stop.
GC Stop, yes,
Yeah.
provides. Sorry.
Yes. So, I wish I had her little card because it's got
Yeah,
the list
and
right
you don't
like
have
that.
to go down the whole list, but yeah, the
From
major ones.
memory, So a large part of our service is making sure if people are still going to use that they're as safe as they can possibly be doing it.
Mhm.
Passing out lots of Narcan. And again, if anybody needs that for any, just contact us. We will deliver Narcan. I mean, my parents have it in their glove compartments. I'm like, even if you don't feel safe using it, toss it to somebody who will.
Yeah,
Just because you think you're not around, I hear that all the time. Oh, I'm not around people like that. I'm
yeah,
like, you absolutely are. You just don't know
yeah.
it. Um, but we have the clinic and we do that on Mondays all day. We have a physician in the office. We have a pharmacist there that fills the medication. And so that it's just full service when they come in.
Mhm.
We do refer people. We work very closely with Triad Health Project. So any type of sexually transmitted disease testing, HIV, Hep C, we can help people with that. They also will help people with treatment if need be for that. Um, we have a justice involved program where we have a member of our staff who goes into the jails. And so either if it's participants of our program or if it's people that the jail refers, that might be people who are either inducted into like medication assisted treatment while they're there, or they feel like they could benefit from that when they get out. We get referred those people, and we have somebody who goes into the jails and connects with those people so that they can know that the minute they get out, because that is the most volatile time. If
Sure.
somebody has been away, their tolerance is down, they can't use what they normally did.
Right.
So we want to make sure we get them right as they're coming out. We also have what we call a reach clinic. The same person who goes in the jails runs this, and that's for mothers who expectant mothers who might be still struggling, might be on medication assisted treatment, all of which carry a ton of stigma. And there's a lot of women who go without care
Mhm.
because of the fear of that. So it's through Cone, and there's a doctor there that really is the main doctor for all of these patients, and he's incredibly compassionate and works really well with them. Um, and we, like I said, we go out in the community. We actually have a Greensboro team that goes out each week in High Point. And so we've got little pop-up locations. And, somebody could show up there if they want Narcan too. We do that a lot. But those are posted on our website. But that's usually Tuesdays and Wednesdays that we do that. Thursdays, we go out and deliver people who can't get out if they need things from us. We have a whole list of people that we did that today. So we have a team, three different teams going to all different areas. And I mean, it takes, a good part of the day to do it, but that's a large part of what we do too. We try to make sure that nobody who needs something can't get it. So we're just out there. And so Fridays is kind of our catch up day
Sure.
because
Sure.
Monday through Thursday we are structured and
We're out there.
just doing everything we can. That's right. I never come home wishing I'd done more.
You're out there grinding, Caroline.
Yeah.
I absolutely
Yeah.
love it. Now let
Mhm.
me ask, in terms like the last, I would say probably the last 5 or 6 years, we've had some really more shows than movies on the opioid problem. I know
Sure.
I'm gonna get it
Yeah.
eventually.
Yeah. You're
Are
going to
there?
perfect it by the
Yeah.
end of
Eventually, yes.
this.
Are there any that just stand out to you that felt like fairly accurate? Because of course some of them are very, very dramatized,
Sure.
and this, that, and
Sure.
the other. But I know
Yes.
we had a few like Pain Hustlers. There was a
Yes.
couple on Netflix as well. Are there any that
Mhm.
you've seen yourself where you're like, you know what, this actually feels really, really accurate?
Yeah, so oh gosh, it just left me, but it was a Netflix and it had Michael Keaton. Wait a minute, it was about Purdue Pharma.
Mm-hmm.
Where's
Mm-hmm.
it going?
I'm
Where's it
I'm looking
going?
it up right now.
Yeah, it
Yep, I
was
know
it was a
exactly what you're
series.
talking about.
My husband and I binge watched it when it was like we were snowed in. It was a couple years ago. Um, Ooh, help me out. You're
Oh
helping
no,
me
I'm going to help you out.
out.
Yeah, it was called Dope Sick.
Dope Sick.
Dope Sick.
Yes, yes.
Okay.
And the author of that book, Beth
Mhm.
Macy, I think it is.
Yeah.
I've gone and seen her speak too. But that told the whole story of kind of how the opioid epidemic started and
Right.
how Purdue Pharma really went to these mining towns and,
Oh,
just marketed OxyContin as a cure all, like so
right.
how somebody would take ibuprofen now. And of course it killed the pain. Of course it was great, but they said it was non-addictive because of the coating on the pill. But they knew that it was and they pushed it out. And that is really the single-handed like start of, and you could see. And of course, we had to take breaks because it
Sure.
was so like, well, I don't want to say triggering, but
Sure.
it made you angry
Yeah.
because they knew exactly what they were doing. And I even think that all the money they've had to pay out, I think they deserve jail time. I don't know how
Oh,
they got out
1000%.
because
That
all of the money. But that
1000%.
one for sure. And then she is just, she's written several books. She's totally worth checking out. She is a wonderful author. In fact, I met up with a high school friend a couple of years ago.
Mhm.
Um, I mean, we knew each other in high school, whatever, talked, may have hung out a few times,
Mhm.
but he reached out to me because he was back in town and he said, "Hey, I'm going to be at Green Valley Grill. You want to meet for a coffee or a drink or whatever? Just
Yeah.
catch up." And I was like, "Oh, sure." And so, I'm married. It was nothing like that. Um, but so I sat down with him and he's an attorney. He lives in Charlotte, goes back and forth to New York City and all these things. And we are just talking. And he said, I've obviously followed kind of your journey on Facebook. And he said, and I just want to tell you that I was one of those people who judged and
Yeah.
was like, people whose kids that happens to, it's got to be the parents didn't do something right. They weren't
Right.
raised right,
Right.
morals, all the things. He said, but he read the book Dope Sick. And he said he only bought it because he liked the author. He had read one of her other books.
Yeah.
He said that book single handedly, like, totally changed his view. And he said, and I'm so embarrassed about the way I used to think.
Sure.
And he
Sure.
said, he said, I don't need you to like pat me on the back or anything
Right.
like that. He said, I just wanted you to know that I have seen your journey and I am so sorry. And I just wanted to talk to you. And he has supported us several times since,
Yeah.
just with very nice donations and
Yeah.
just, it was a very kind gesture. And that brought to mind that author again, because she just is amazing.
No, I did not know it was based on a book. I'm definitely gonna have to check it out
Yes.
because,
Yeah.
yeah, I was watching it and my wife and I, like, we were getting like pissed watching it, for
Yes.
lack of a better term. It's like
Yeah.
they knew what they were doing, and then they did the chart. Like, this
Yep.
is how how do you feel, and if you're here, then they were just trying to pump out meds, plain and simple,
Yes.
knowing that it
Right.
was incredibly addictive, and
Yes.
it's unfortunate. So,
It's all about the money.
yeah, yeah, but it's. Uh, I
Yeah.
definitely appreciate you coming on, Caroline.
Of course.
We're about to wrap up, but
Okay.
join me offline. Before we wrap up, though, again, remind people about the event this Saturday, and of course how to reach you, and
Mhm.
anything that we can do to get involved here at Zero Dark Nerdy. We're going to catch up on. We got a
Of
few
course.
events coming up in the summer as well as in the
Yeah.
spring. Would love to have
Mhm.
you there. But yeah,
Oh,
remind people about Saturday, and then for those
yeah.
that are catching this after Saturday, how they can get involved.
Of course, of course. So it is Kaitlyn's Carnival. It will be this Saturday, April 25th. It is from 12 until 4. It's just at the Greensboro Arboretum. We've got that whole area like across. There's even a little area next to the butterfly garden as there is on the other side with the meditation. So but yeah, rain or shine, we're gonna be there. Any questions or concerns or ways to help or anything, that's Caroline at GCSTOP.org. And like I said, I'm very good about checking my emails. So I won't miss you, I promise.
You are. You're always on top of it. I'm glad we got to connect.